In the last year, during my no-buy, I was using style challenges to inspire creativity when I was putting together outfits day to day. And part of that was creating prompts. And I realized when I created prompts that changed my perspective when putting together an outfit. It really created interesting outfits that I never would have put together otherwise. What I mean is, normally when I get dressed, and maybe this is true for you too, I will start with either a top or a bottom and focus on that main part of the outfit. So what I would do instead is start with a different part of the outfit. This primarily started with shoes. I would pick my shoes first and then create the outfit around that. And like I said, it created outfits that I would never have put together otherwise, because I was focused less on how the top and bottom were relating together and more on how the shoe and the pants were relating, and then figuring out the rest of the outfit once I had figured that out. So in today's video, I'll be creating 4 outfits starting with my shoes first and creating the outfits around the shoes. So let's start with the first pair of shoes. So the first pair of shoes are these from Mark Fisher. They're a black knee-high boot, and they have a small block heel. Now I'll normally style these with a shorter hem, whether that's a skirt or a dress, and that's my go-to. But recently I have been wearing my other pair of knee-high boots, my Fry boots, with a more long flowy pant. So I'm thinking about maybe doing something similar with these boots. Like I said, normally when I put together an outfit, I'll start with a top and bottom first, and then I'll choose a shoe. But today, particularly with these, I need to be really thoughtful about what bottom to pair with these. So here I went for these universal thread railroad striped pants. I love the way that black and blue look together, and I thought that these pants would be wide enough to not feel constricted against the tall boot. And I do really like how this looks together. I wasn't sure how it was gonna look because with the other brown boots that I have, there's a little bit more detail on the bottom of the boot, so it feels a little bit more interesting when it's underneath the pant, but I don't mind this. I think the fact that the boot has a little bit of like movement at the ankle, like softness, a little bit slouchiness, creates a different look than if I was to wear one of my other ankle boots. So now I'm gonna move on to the top, and I think one of my biggest concerns is bringing the black throughout the outfit. I want this outfit to feel balanced, and when just my shoes are black and the rest of the outfit doesn't have any black in it, it feels like the outfit's very heavy, and so I wanna make sure the other pieces that I select within the outfit also bring at least accents of black somewhere else in the outfit. Okay, so obviously this is very different than what you last saw, and that is because when I was looking for tops to go with those blue pants, it felt difficult to find pieces that have that hint of black, and so I ended up switching out the bottoms. I still wanted to keep the idea of these tall boots disappearing underneath the hem of whatever bottom I chose because, like I said, I had been focusing on shorter silhouettes of these boots, so I wanted to try something new today. So I did that with this skirt. This is from a Karen Britt chick drop with Amazon. I think that it still has that like loose feeling at the bottom like those pants did, but it just gives a little bit more of a neutral base. Because when I was looking in my closet, I don't have a lot of options where there's a black accent. This is one of them. And I thought that this would accent well with the shoes. And then I also thought that it would look good with the cargo skirt as well. It gives like a little bit prep school, but in like a funky way. I feel like it's both sort of fashion with the boots and the skirt, but also funky with the asymmetrical details of the skirt and the sort of playful energy that the top has. So that's the first pair of shoes styled. Let's talk about the next pair of shoes. Next, we're talking sneakers. These are a pair of high top Converse, and I usually wear these just as like a neutral bottom. Like they don't really make a big impact on an outfit because they're this like very neutral brown color, and they're a basic silhouette that I think just ends up being a sort of supporting character in an outfit. But I want this to be something that lends itself to the overall aesthetic of the outfit. To balance out how casual these are, my first thought is to pick something polished as the bottom. So let me go see what I have. So here is the skirt that I chose to go with the sneakers. It's from Vera Moda, and I chose it because I feel like it's a little bit more polished, which I think balances out the sneakers. And I feel like the colors work together really well. So for the top, I want to see if I can bring some of maybe this brown into the top to really have it feel balanced throughout the entire outfit and make the sneakers feel like they're part of the whole look as opposed to being thrown on at the end. Okay, so here is the top. I have a thrifted t-shirt as an underlayer, and then this is a thrifted knit sweater. And I ended up picking the hand knit sweater first, and I picked it because it has that sort of warm light brown throughout it, which is in the shoe and in the skirt. So I feel like it all feels connected. And then I just added this t-shirt underneath to break up the patterns a little bit. Obviously, there's an all-over pattern on the skirt and then this sort of beautiful hand knit design on the front. So just to create a little bit of a breath between the two pieces, as well as sort of lengthening the silhouette even a little bit. I like when things hit around here. So with just the sweater, the proportion was feeling a little bit high. So I just added this little extra layer just to give myself a proportion that I like a little bit better. So this is the final outfit for these sneakers, and let me move on to the next pair of shoes. The next pair of shoes are these guys. They are from Intentionally Blank. And I'm going to be paying extra special attention to the outfit that I create with these because these are a pair that have been in my house section in my wardrobe, which is pieces that I don't know how to style or that I never wear. And I really love these, but I just don't get the wear out of them that I hoped that I would. And they're just so beautiful. I mean, they have the pointed toe, the lace-up detail, this gorgeous like neon green color. So I think that I want to try and create something that is very wearable for every day. So I'm gonna probably go with something pretty casual for the bottoms and try to make sure that these shoes are the star. So surprisingly, I don't think I've ever styled these shoes with these jeans, which is truly a travesty because I think they look so good together. I went for these Everlane curve jeans because I sort of wanted to play with shapes here. With the shoes being so pointy, I knew I wanted to have some sort of softness in the bottom. Whether that was a flare leg or just a softer silhouette on the bottom. And I saw these jeans and I was like, that's a cop out. These are some of my favorite jeans. They look good with basically everything. But I was like, maybe that could work with these boots. And I really love what this is doing. I feel like the boots are very fashion and the jeans bring them down a little bit. And I feel like the curve shape of the jean really balances out the super pointy toe. So I really like where this is going. I'm not sure what I want to do on top. By the way, this isn't the top I'm wearing with this. This is just the top that was underneath the sweater from the last outfit. I got a little hot, but I am feeling like maybe the answer is to go full casual and either do a t-shirt and a cardigan or a t-shirt and like a button down. So that's where my head's at. So let me see what sort of colors and combinations I think will work best with these green shoes. Okay, so I did end up keeping this t-shirt on. I really like it. And I felt like it sort of worked with what I already had going on. And I just threw on this thrifted Woolrich corduroy button down because I thought the burgundy and the green would be really interesting in the same outfit. And I really like it. I think they're like competing, but also cohesive. I don't know. I love what's happening color-wise in this outfit. And I think pairing these very out there shoes with something that I feel really comfortable in and wear all the time, t-shirt, button-down, jeans, feels like something that I could see myself wearing out into the world. Let's say I want to wear a cute outfit, but I also want to be really comfortable. I just throw on my jeans, t-shirt, button-down, and then to make it feel fashion, a little bit more fun, I throw on these green boots. So this feels like a very successful outfit because I feel like this is something I never would have put together. Normally, I feel like I would have put my Blundstone boots with this outfit and then that would have been it. But I think the green boots make the outfit. So this is definitely another piece of evidence that getting dressed from a different perspective can create some really interesting outfits. And with that, let's move on to the final shoe. For the final shoe, we have these Sam Edelman Elena T-strap Mary Janes. I got these for Christmas, so I just want to create a fun outfit with them, but I want to start with these as the first piece because I think normally I would just probably throw these on with my big bad pressed trousers, a t-shirt, and a cardigan, and then these would probably be sort of an outfit that I would throw together or like with overalls. So I want to try and do something a little bit different with these. I want to see how I can get creative and figure something else out that I maybe wouldn't have thought of otherwise. And so my first thought with these is they're very like chunky. And so I want to go with something maybe a little bit softer, but they're also a bit polished. So that kind of leans into maybe something a bit more casual. So let's see what sort of bottom I think could work best with this one. Okay, so for the bottoms, I ended up going with these universal thread like cargo style pants. I think they're a little bit like squinched and like messy and just like very casual, which I think is fun next to the Mary Janes. And then I threw on these double sole socks to add a little bit of like fun, whimsical polish to the outfit. So now I just have to figure out the top, and I think I'm gonna probably do something like sweatery because I feel like the pants are solid green and they have some detail in the pockets and some stitching detail, but they're also just like a smooth sort of cotton feel. So I want to add some more texture to the outfit to lean into a more cozy feeling to the overall outfit. I think that'll sort of blend the casual and the dressy as well and make this outfit feel more cohesive as a whole. All right, so I ended up putting this thrifted Fair Isle sweater on as the top, and then I switched out the socks because the socks and the sweater felt like I was doing sort of a Fair Isle pattern twice. It was like these stripes with things in the middle. And so I ended up switching it out for these like fruit grid socks that I got from Urban Outfitters like 1,000 years ago. I feel like it connects the top and the bottom instead of competing with it. And so I really like this outfit. And what I think is funny about it is I never would have put this top and this bottom together. And I did it because I wanted something that would work well with the shoes and the bottoms. It just goes to show that when you're starting with the same pieces over and over again, a lot of times your mind will just go back to the same options. And starting from a different part of the outfit can force your mind to try different things and go down different paths when you're creating an outfit, and it can create something that you never thought of before. So it gives you more options in your wardrobe without that much more work, just by changing the way you're thinking about how you're putting together an outfit. And with that, this is the final outfit, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know what your favorite outfit was from this video. I think my favorite was the one with the intentionally blank green boots. I just really loved how the colors came together, and it feels like something that I could just immediately wear out no matter what activity I'm doing. So I love that one the best. I love making videos all about personal style and making the most out of your wardrobe. So if you don't want to miss anything from me, make sure to subscribe. It really helps my channel. And if you enjoyed this, you might enjoy my video where I create 3 winter outfits inspired by Pinterest. So I will leave that linked here and see you in the next one. Bye.